Why you're not the narcissist, even if you are manipulative. It's been a while since I did a video about validating people that are healing from narcissistic abuse, and this is a good one. This is one I struggle with myself. I project a lot of my videos. It's basically a diary. It's me talking to a camera, and maybe people relate, maybe they don't. Here we are. If you're healing from narcissistic abuse, you're doing the work, and and it's very common, right, to feel like a narcissist, especially if you grew up with a narcissistic family and are changing and healing. Obviously, that's the whole point. Is you have to die in order to become something different, and it's very confusing. And in this video, I want to talk about manipulation as a concept in how we relate to each other in relationships, especially if one or both parties were narcissists. And in this case, I'm going to talk about why you're not the narcissist for being manipulative. Like, there is a very fine line between, again, narcissism is everyone all the time. We all have parts of it. We were talking about NPD, clinical narcissist, right? This is the only way it makes sense to talk about this topic in my at least for the sake of this video. Having said that, if you are and have been manipulative in your life, it's very possible you're a codependent. Again, everyone's codependent, but at the extremes, right? If you had to gain love, validation, attention, things that are human needs in childhood, and the people around you were not genuine, i.e. were narcissists, or they themselves were codependent and they were manipulative, like, this is the battle, right? So by being manipulative, and I was gaslit myself. This is a very personal one for me because I was gaslit even by therapists. It was very, very painful at a time when I really was vulnerable. And I was secluded. Not any power. And I would argue I had a kind of a predatory style of therapist that was telling me a lot of stuff about myself. And it was very, in hindsight, damaging. Luckily, I had done a good 6 months of research on narcissistic abuse, and I've always been interested in psychology, so I had a little bit of a, and that was the point, is that she knew that, so she was intimidated, and it became a battle. This is kind of off topic, but luckily I had some tools, and one of the tools being abused by women in times in my life that I kind of was triggered by her, to be honest with you. But so that but the bottom line is my manipulation, certain things that you do to survive, does not make you a narcissist. That's the point. So that's today's video. Why you're not the narcissist for being manipulative. It often, and even for the narcissist, it's to survive. So why do we manipulate? It's a unhealthy, immature way to have one's needs met. When we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about, especially intimate ones, manipulation should not be manipulating someone to get your needs met should not be or is not a healthy, mature way, obviously. But to manipulate someone, and this is the whole paradox of toxic relationships, is they're not getting their needs met, and then you don't see what they see in you, and you're not getting your needs met. They don't see what you see in them. So everyone's grasping at straws, trying to get their needs met with people that aren't emotionally available. And there you go. You got a toxic relationship. There it is in a nutshell, right? So it's like, but just because you're doing that manipulation, that party, is not genuine. And even if you are not genuine, which I would argue to some degree you're not, because you're not healed, right? Then it's like you're manipulating too. But it doesn't come from a place of no lack of self. It doesn't come from a place of again, empathy. You're not doing it from a place from not being empathetic. While as a narcissist, I would argue, especially at the extremes, is manipulating. And this is the thing that I just heard a friend talk about this, and you're watching. I didn't answer your text. Obviously you watched because you texted me after I made a video. This is very passive aggressive. I should text you. Anyway, whatever. I'm already talking about it. What's up, Dan? It came out naturally. I don't think a narcissist is just a product of their environment, and I don't think that they are. I think they know what they're doing. This is the whole trap. Parties, and this is cluster B, at the end of the day, this is empathy, lack of it, when you have none. It is, I don't know a better word is than evil. There are plenty of people that have abusive childhoods, and they don't decide, now I'm not quoting that, they don't decide to hurt people to get their needs met. Narcissists are making a choice. It's cowardice. It's a choice. It's the spirit realm, whatever you want to talk about, whatever it is that makes people act and make choices. That is beyond environment, nature, nurture. I make often the argument that nature is more powerful than nurture. Our DNA, our genetics are pretty goddamn profound and powerful. I feel like that's the starting point, and then nature. Anyway, so yeah, that's a big difference to manipulate to get your needs met and care and still care versus manipulating people, whether subconscious, unconscious, whatever, instinctual, whatever you want to call it, that a narcissist decides to manipulate someone to get their needs met. It's control based. Yeah, you can argue it's bad childhood, it's unhealthy, how their upbringing was. They want to watch the world burn. Well, is that their fault that they want to watch the world burn? Maybe they had a bad childhood. Oh, maybe they had a bad childhood. Maybe they want you to think that, and then they can manipulate you, whether it's in therapy or in a relationship or whatever. Empathy without boundaries is toxic. And to say people are just products of their environment is dangerous. Skinnerd fans. BF Skinnerd. Oh yeah, that's right. That was argument. It's like, but your genetics is the environment. So that's just big hippie bullshit at the end of the day. Oh man, if your genetics, it's all environment, because even your what's in you, that's environment. Like, that's the environment. You didn't decide that. Well, what the fuck are we doing here? Why don't we all just stare at a wall? That's like conflating everything happens for a reason and God's plan with, that's all just smoke crack every day. It was his plan. Right? I don't know if I'm making any fucking sense. What was I even talking? What was the point of this freaking video? You're not the narcissist. You're watching videos on YouTube. You're probably not the narcissist. There's a good chance. Even if you are a narcissist, you probably tuned out by now because you have to go do something that's more interesting to validate your eggshell, your shell. Got to bring up that freaking the egg, the shell. Why am I talking about egg? It's a shell. It doesn't be a freaking egg. You're not an egg. You're a narcissist. You're not gonna have. There's no chicken narcissist. What am I? Okay, so dinosaur egg. So yeah, not the narcissist. Especially if you're still watching right now with this freaking silly video. You're probably awesome tubular person, and you are probably as bored as I am with life, trying to assimilate to this isolation. If you're still on this YouTube video, then you really, now I'm worried about you. No, I don't know. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna go get some groceries. Okay, we'll talk to you guys later. All right, ADHD. All right, no more videos for a while until I have something actually to say. Okay, have a good time. All right, have a good day. Goodbye.